Hey, what's going on, people? I want to talk about this. I find it to be funny, but this so-called beef between Kevin Hart and Mike Epps. Now, it all started with Mike Epps making certain statements on a radio show. I believe it was a Breakfast Club, and they asked him what comedian out there did he feel like was overrated, and he said Kevin Hart. Now, that was his own opinion. Obviously, radio stations and television shows, they ask people certain questions to start drama. That's what they do. It's all about promoting the radio show and drawing in viewers. But, he said a name, and I respect him for that, because a lot of people, they say certain things and they'll tell someone on the staff, or they'll say things subliminally, but they don't actually come out and say a name. So I respect Mike Epps for actually coming out and saying who he genuinely felt was overrated. So it started this whole Twitter beef, and Twitter is the devil. All type of beefs and commotions go on Twitter. That's the first place everything happens. But it started this whole war of back and forth, disrespectful words. Not nothing too deep, but basically just throwing shots at each other's career. And Kevin Hart was saying things like, "You're not as big as me, and until you sell out shows and arenas, you'll never be on my level." And then Mike Epps said some comments saying, "I would challenge you in basketball if you were taller." Just all type of little funny things they were saying back at each other. But when I first read the article on it, first of all, I thought Mike Epps was hating a little bit, and Mike Epps is my dude. Funny dude. Hands down, anybody who knows me personally knows Mike Epps. From this new generation, he's my favorite comedian. The guy is hilarious. And when it comes to just raw, I would say, raw talent when it comes to comic relief and humor, I gotta give it to Mike Epps. Now, a lot of people were saying that Kevin Hart is more versatile and blah blah blah, and a lot of people were throwing race into saying, well, why it gotta be two brothers arguing with each other and everything. And I understand that, but the thing is that you gotta understand, with the entertainment industry, they only let one brother in at a time. If we look at all the famous black comedians that have came, whether it was from Richard Pryor to Eddie Murphy to Martin Lawrence to Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, I can go on and on. They've all had their little time to shine, because Hollywood is only really going to let one in at a time. You never see a whole bunch of black comedians just doing real big, huge things, making that crossover money, having that crossover success. And Kevin Hart works his ass off. The guy's in all type of movies. He's doing commercials. He's got his own show on UPN. You pick a nigga, But the guy works his ass off, and you can't take that away from him. So I do think it was a tad bit hate from Mike Epps, but at the same time, I think Mike Epps is like, yo, I'm funnier than this guy. But a lot of people don't understand the entertainment industry. People think they understand it, but me being someone who is actually in the entertainment industry, it's a lot of different things that go on. Everything is not about racism. Everything is not about black and white. Yes, that has a lot to do with the things that go on, whether it's from rap music, movies, television, or any genre of entertainment. We do have racist people who are in the entertainment industry and that run the entertainment industry, but a lot of this falls back down on money. When we look at Kevin Hart, me being someone that deals with marketing and distribution and certain things that get put out to the public, when we look at Kevin Hart, he has more of, his style of comedy is more, I would say, well-rounded. We could take Kevin Hart, the clean-cut guy. He talks about family. He talks about relationships, which is the number one thing a lot of people like to hear about, whether you black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. Everybody likes to hear about love and relationships. He talks about things that I would say is on a common ground. He doesn't get too black like a Paul Mooney, because everybody know, Paul Mooney is as black as they come. They had to escort him off of the Arsenio Hall show. The other day, he called somebody in the audience a nigga, and that caused the whole thing to cut his act. So, nobody gets as black as Paul Mooney, but Kevin Hart kind of has a solid base of humor where you can market him out to a broader audience. Whereas when we look at Mike Epps, even though me personally, I feel like his material is more funnier, he more or less caters to the black audience. Doesn't mean he can't do shows or there's not people of other ethnicities out there that enjoy his comedy, but he more or less, with his material and his style of comedy and just his image as a whole, he more or less is catered to the black audience. You can throw him in a Friday and he's funny as hell, or you can throw him in I even thought he probably could have pulled off that ride along joint. You could throw him in something like that. But it's all about, at the end of the day, it's about marketing. It's about how you can be distributed out to the public. And a lot of people within the entertainment industry, the big people who actually run a lot of this stuff that's distributed to the audience and everyday people, they're looking at what's going to make money. And Kevin Hart is a gold mine right now, because you have white people and black people that like his style of comedy, like what he does. Me personally, I think a lot of things that he does, especially within the movies, because I think they restrict some of the things that he does because they don't want to upset sponsors and everything like that, so they kind of restrict him. But some of the things that he does in his movies, and especially in the TV show, is a little corny. He'll make a joke and I'll say, really? You really just said that? Because a lot of things that he says is very corny and it's not funny to me. But at the same time, you have a white person that might hear that joke and laugh their ass off, because his style of comedy is able to jump over and have that crossover success. So a lot of that plays into part why certain comedians really take it to another level. It's about you marketing your stuff. It's about your work ethic. It's about everything. It's about how people can distribute you to the public. And point an example, you look at Ice Cube. Now Ice Cube, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I notice it because I pay attention to things. Ice Cube is very good at taking the hot comedian out at the moment and making a movie with him. You look at all his films. He came out with Friday, and I know he's not the director or run the whole script, but he does have his hands into a lot of these projects. And when we look at Friday, he had Chris Tucker. At the time, Chris Tucker was very hot. He's very interesting, very charismatic. Everybody wanted to see what Chris Tucker was going to do next. Then when Chris Tucker didn't want to be involved with the whole Friday project because of his, I believe his religious beliefs, he got Mike Epps. Mike Epps was coming around, he was funny as hell. Everybody was interested in Mike Epps. Then Mike Epps got out of the way, and he kind of slid Cat Williams in there. Then now you have Kevin Hart, and he did the ride-along joint with Kevin Hart. So Ice Cube is, he's very business-minded, and he knows how to use the hot comedian at the time and make a big picture. And ride-along was very successful. A lot of comedians could have done Kevin Hart's role. He could have got Mike Epps. He could have got D-Ray. D-Ray is funny as hell. It's a couple of people he could have got for that role, but Kevin Hart is going to draw in the money. So, I guess what I'm trying to say with this whole video is that a lot of this has to do with marketing. It has a lot to do with your image. It has a lot to do with how companies and people who direct these certain projects and produce certain movies and television shows, how they can use you to market their product. And a lot of times you can't do that with certain comedians. Same as you might have an athlete or a rapper. You got tattoos all over your damn face and all on your arms and stuff, where there's going to be certain roles in movies that you will not be qualified for simply because you look. So, image does play a lot in the entertainment field. A lot of women out here that you see that are singers, people like Sierra and stuff. Well, you got record companies on the ass about keeping her weight down. If you look at Sierra, she was thicker when she first came out. Now she's pretty, I'm not going to say she's skinny, but she's pretty thin. With me personally, I liked her when she had a little meat on her bones. She was looking real good when she had a little meat on her bones. But, that's the record company saying, hey, we want you to slim down just a little bit, because that way we can market you out to a broader audience. We got a lot of white guys out there that don't like women with curves and, with a little meat on her. But the brothers do, most brothers do, but a lot of white guys don't like that. So it's about marketing, it's about what's going to make money. And a lot of people throw race into it and everything. I understand that these brothers shouldn't be doing it, and I agree with that. You know, they should. You know, if Kevin Hart's at the top of the mountain right now, pull some other people in. You know, let's make it to where it's not just one black comedian at a time. Let's make it to where one person get up there and they start bringing everybody else in. You know, you can do that. So I do think these brothers should knock it off. And, you know, it's bullshit to be arguing because there's enough money out here for all of us. It's just about us coming together and collectively making change and start flipping our dollars. But at the same time, you have to understand it's a business. A lot of this falls back on what's going to make dollars. You know, you look at the Donald Sterling thing. Yes, Donald Sterling was a racist fuck, but listen to what he was saying. He was saying, I don't care if you talk to Magic Johnson or you talk to black people, just don't bring them to my games. Because what that was a business move. He was looking at it like, okay, well, yeah, my inner circle, you know, knows that I use these black players to make money, but I'm not supposed to be associated with them. It's just supposed to be business and business only. So he was looking at it not just from a personal standpoint, but from a business standpoint. So that's what all this about. It's about the dollar bills, about that green. But that's my opinion on it. You guys give me your opinion on this whole so-called Mike Epps, Kevin Hart beef that's going on right now. I'm out. Peace.